This is mainly a response to a portion of Review Tech USA's video, which is about Jim Sterling's video review of Hellblade, in which he gave it a 1 out of 10 for a game-breaking bug. Now I want to start the video with this. I almost always agree with Review Tech USA's content, and I have nothing against him. I enjoy his content. In fact, he's even on my channel list if you actually go to my channel page. However, I do disagree with him on this point that he made.
Ninja Theory, when this game was playtested, you didn't notice this bug? Now, admittedly, like Jim said, this bug seems rare. No other reviewers have brought it up, but nonetheless, it's still a bug, and I'm sure if the game was thoroughly playtested, it would have been caught some way, somehow. That's the thing that bothers me. These bugs always seem to slip through the crack, and then developers later on make this huge, 20-page apology apologizing to the consumer, and we're going to fix it, instead of having the game come out of the gate working. I'm sure if more time was focused on Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, someone would have caught this quote-unquote rare game-breaking bug, and there wouldn't have been an issue, and Jim wouldn't have been angry and would have initially given the game a 1 out of 10 score.
The issue is that he merges two separate issues together. On one hand, you have games that come out broken, and there's no arguing the fact that they come out broken and clearly untested. Examples of this include the original Watch Dogs, that was fun, SimCity, Batman Arkham Knight for PC. On the other hand, you have a classic games that are well made and polished but just happen to have uncaught bugs. Games are complex pieces of software, and complex pieces of software at any level in any industry are subject to bugs no matter how much they are tested. In software engineering world, we actually have software that tests software to make sure it has no bugs, and bugs still happen. A computer does exactly what you tell it to do. There have been major bugs that have been found in Linux, and even a software that keeps your private information safe as it moves across the internet. For those of you wondering, that is OpenSSL with the infamous Heartbleed bug. Linux and OpenSSL are tested extensively and even open source. Linux itself is the basis of many things, such as Android and OS X. Despite this, despite all the attention, despite it being open source, and anybody can literally look at the code, despite extensive testing, bugs happen. Now, you can argue and say, oh, it's just a game, it's not an operating system, obviously it's not that complex, which is true, but a game itself, a video game, is a complex piece of software. It doesn't matter how much you test it, it doesn't matter how much you play test it, there is always the possibility of bugs coming out, and bugs that you wouldn't otherwise know about until you release the game and then people play it and then they do things that weren't anticipated. These occurrences don't happen because of laziness. I mean, some of the time. Like I said earlier in the video, there are games that clearly come out broken, and there's no excusing the fact that they come out broken. But then, on the other hand, you have these other games like Hellblade, which is obviously a good game, obviously very polished, but you kind of want to condemn it for having this game-breaking bug. And then it gets kind of grouped together with these AAA companies that release these broken games at releases, and I don't think that's particularly fair. This is just the nature of building something complex with a lot of moving parts. Games are no exception to this. Look at the glitches in this tool-assisted speedrun for Portal.
Very good. You are now in possession of the Aperture Science handheld portal device. With it, you can create your own portals. These interdimensional gates have proven to be completely safe. The device, however, welcome to Test Chamber 4. You're doing quite well. As part of a required test protocol, our previous statement suggesting that we would not monitor this chamber was an outright fabrication. Good job. As part of a required test protocol.
There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes of any piece of software, and I feel this detail is glossed over just because it is a video game. Jim Sterling even has a video where he states that he basically overreacted and that this is a rare occurrence. And in fact, no other reviewer has actually ran into this issue that he ran into. Now, it would be different if tons of people were having this issue and bugs were flying all over the place. There's absolutely no excuse for broken games at release, and I 150% agree with that. these paint a bad picture for reputable companies that are generally trying to make the best product. So what do you think of this issue? Let me know in the comments, and we will see you in the next one.